Hello and welcome to this week's reading vlog. I have already read quite a few books. I've been on a bit of a reading binge and I shall tell you all about them. The first book that I listened to, this was an audiobook, is The Roughest Draft, and it is it's a contemporary romantic novel that is about two authors who used to write together and then for some unexplained reason are no longer friends. There was a falling out. There was a lot of speculation that their relationship caused the male character's divorce. So he was married at the time, they went away on a writing retreat together. Some things may have happened, he got divorced, they're no longer speaking. So you cut to present day where the female so they're still contractually obligated to write one more book together. The woman is now engaged to both of their former publicist or editor or something like that. And anyway, her fiance is pressuring her to write the book. He's like, I need it for my career. Please write the book with this guy. And basically she agrees to go on another writing retreat and her fiance gives her pretty much approval for her to have an affair with the guy if that's what it takes for them to write a novel together. He's like, if you need to do what you need to do, that's absolutely fine. So I tried to go along with it. I listened to 3 hours, but I just get the ick whenever there's a couple and one of them or two of them are in serious relationships. I don't want to see those people fall in love. They're already in committed partnerships. It's like, no. So he was married the first time around when I still don't know if they hooked up. It's hinted that they did. There's a lot of sexual chemistry between them. And then the second time around, she's engaged. And I don't care if the guy that she's engaged to is a douche. I can't get on board with infidelity in any way, even if it's like there's so much a better couple than the one that she's with. So I couldn't do it. And I think I just need to stop picking up romantic books that have people already in established relationships. I just need to stay away from them. And then I listened to Rebecca. So this was a bit of an audiobook week. Now I read this book way long ago before Goodreads was even around, but I remember I enjoyed it. This was a favorite of mine back in the day, back in my early 20s, I think. And so I picked it up because I've seen it doing the rounds on booktube and I've given it 3 stars. Now it's a gothic novel. So the gothic vibes are great. You've got a young girl, let's be real, she's almost like a girl, a young woman who meets this older man who is a widow. His wife died under mysterious circumstances and basically he's super wealthy. So he proposes marriage to her very quickly and she goes back to manage his estate, Mandalay, with him, and she's greeted by a very rude, cold housekeeper and some of the other staff and his friends. Anyway, this book, the relationship is awful. It is trash. I'm trying to think what I liked about it so much in the past, to think of it so highly. I guess you've got the gothic vibes. I was very much into gothic books back then. And it is very easy to read, but not a lot really happens. There's really not much going in terms of like the mystery. It's pretty simple. The relationship, like I said, is awful. He's very condescending. He's very mean and cold. And you just really don't understand why she's so madly in love with him. And then when a secret is revealed, which I can't say what it is, but the fact that she just goes, it's okay, I will still love you. Girl, no. Girl, no. No, you barely know him. And he's told you and admitted point blank, this is what he did. And you're like, that's fine. That won't happen to me. Oh, no. Yeah. This is a very unhealthy relationship. Toxic relationship. Absolutely. Unhealthy attachment. The young woman is clearly codependent. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know why I loved it so much. I've decided that this is an example of me not to go and reread previous favorites because I think they will just lose all of their shine. I am much harsher now because I've read so many books in my lifetime. I'm a bit of a harsher rater. I think that just tends to happen the more books you read because then a lot of books feel same. And when too many books just feel exactly the same, it's you don't really rate them highly. Even if the original version of that kind of story was fantastic, you're like, well, I've already read this. I've seen this movie. And, you know, I can't rewatch it 10,000 times without it losing its appeal. I will definitely not be going back to previous favorites because I don't want them to fall from their pedestal. So that was Rebecca. But I think I understand why a lot of people really enjoy it. If it's your first time reading a book like that, it's very easy to get into and to digest, and it's over fairly quickly. The next book I read was The Land of Milk and Honey. Now, I originally described this because I thought the cover was interesting. I've given this one 2.75 stars. The writing was beautiful. And I know what you're thinking, how did you persevere with the book? Look, I felt pretty early on that it was probably going to be a 3-star, but the writing was interesting enough, and the thought that there might possibly be some kind of twist was enough to keep me going. Unfortunately, that gamble didn't pay off. So this world is a bit of a like dystopian sort of book. It's set in a time where there's been a climate disaster. Basically, this smog has come about and covered the whole world, and a lot of the flora has died because, you know, it's getting very little sun, and as a result too, a lot of animals have died because they've no longer got food to eat, and humans have ended up engineering a sort of mung bean type food because it grows in very dim light, and it's basically kind of like a Soylent Green, so that everyone's eating that. And you've got a chef who, as time goes on, obviously less and less ingredients are able to be, you know, used in recipes because they no longer exist. Only the elite and the wealthy have access still to things like strawberries and fresh herbs, so it becomes a very coveted commodity. And all of a sudden she gets an elusive invitation to be a chef at this mountain kind of laboratory. Basically they're growing certain things and they're doing experiments, and it's all very hidden and cloaked in mystery. So this book is very obscure. You don't ever really know what is going on. It's like, what's happening? The way it's written is really bizarre. Like I said, I liked it, but it's also very strange and odd, and it does keep you removed from the story. I didn't really connect to any of the characters, including the angry street cat, which normally would be my jam, but I just didn't connect to anything. So there is a sapphic romance in this. There is this weird thing. She gets into this weird relationship with her boss and her boss's daughter. And like, it's a big look into the, you know, elite superpower people in the world and how they're living. Like, they're not really being affected by what's going on in the world. They still have access to all of their luxuries and their food, and they're eating all this food. There's a lot of description of food and what she's cooking. And it's not just regular food. Like, these people are thawing woolly mammoths and eating that meat. It's pretty gross. So if you don't want to read about people eating chimpanzees and stuff, probably don't read this book. But yeah, and then it sort of ends in this weird way. It's just a really weird book, and it was very unsatisfying. So I should not have pushed through. I should have put it down. It wasn't for me. It's not my style. I honestly don't know who I would even recommend this book to. I don't know. And then I read Woman Eating, and I've decided to give this 3.5 stars. And I kind of liked it. It's basically a millennial with existential dread and eating disorder, but make it vampire. You've got a main character who's a vampire, who is just separated from her mother. Her mother's been placed into a aged care facility. Both of them are vampires. She's been a vampire since she was born. She can only consume blood. She mostly consumes pig's blood, but now that she's on her own, she actually doesn't even know how to source the pig's blood because her mummy was doing it for her. So she's trying to figure out how to adult. She has an eating disorder. She likes to abstain for as long as possible. She's obsessed with the idea of human food and watches like mukbangs and What I Eat in Days. And it's, you know, it's that. She's also an artist. So there's a little bit about art in there. There's some sexual predators in this book as well. It's very slow. It's very slow pace. It's mostly just all about what's going on in her head. But I liked the writing, and it was easy to read. Like, I just whipped through it so fast. And even though I could tell, I'm like, oh, this is probably going to be like a 3.5. I was happy to continue because I wanted to see what happens. So sometimes it's just books, I just want to see, how does this play out? Does anything happen that could possibly bump this book up to a 4? Like, sometimes that can happen. The last, third of a book is just like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, that's amazing. That's changed my whole opinion of the book. So this was one of those ones where I persevered. And I did give it 3.5, and that's fine. Like, I'm not mad that I spent my time reading it. It was a quick read. I think it could have been a lot better. Some more stuff could have happened, but for what it was fine. It's weird. Another weird book. It's another really weird book. So I've picked up some odd books so far this week. So at the moment, I am listening to a sequel to a fantasy book. I think the original was called The Branded. This is what this one is called. This is on audio, and I did say that I don't like to listen to fantasy on audio, but this one's just not available as a hard copy. So it's like audio or nothing. So I've chosen to try the audio out, but I have to listen to it pretty much at one speed so I can actually absorb what is going on. It's okay. It's been a long time since I read The Branded, and sometimes, yeah, it's hard to get back into a world, you know. It's hard to be like, oh, I felt chemistry with these people, but now it's like, it's lost. I'm not in the moment. So now I'm like, do they have chemistry? I'm not even feeling it really. So I don't know how it's going to go. It might not go very well. I might end up DNFing it. We'll see. Besides that, I don't know what I'm going to pick up next. I've got a bunch of books on my e-reader, so I'll just grab one of those. But yeah, this week's not going off very well, not starting off great. My average rating has taken a bit of a hit, but that's okay. I'm sure I will find a book that I'm really into. But yeah, I think because you eventually do. You eventually find a book that you enjoy. So anyway, I will be doing a lot more reading this week. I've just got a lot more downtime once again, so expect a lot of books in this little vlog. And I'm heading off to the shopping centre today because my eldest daughter needs to find shoes for her auntie's wedding. So we're getting our wedding outfits, and that's going to be fun. Going shoe shopping with my eldest kid is bloody torture, let me tell you. Oh, it's when I'm expecting to have to hit every single shop and try every single pair of shoes on and then circle back. So I'm putting on my sneakers and making sure I am comfy. But that is the only plan that we have for today, which is fantastic. I'm about to film my giveaway for this channel. So because it's my birthday this month, I'm doing a little giveaway of books that I don't want anymore. And same for my other channel, I'm giving away some tarot decks and things. So I'm about to film those. But besides that, it's going to be a chill weekend. So I'll see you back when I've read some more books. Okay, so I am 3 hours into The Rising, which is a sequel to The Branded, where some people have brands on them and they're considered less than, and they shouldn't be able to have power like the Pures do. Anyway, it's the second in a series, and I'm DNFing it. It's so boring. It really is boring, and I just don't care. I have no interest after 3 hours, so I thought I was going to just keep pushing through. But then I decided to read some reviews, and the reviews have made me feel like I should not. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to pick up a book which hopefully will be a winner. And it's the third installment of the Once Upon a Broken Heart. Is it A Curse for True Love? I can't remember the name, but I've got that. So I'm going to give that a go. But I have seen a lot of booktubers not like it. Like, it's their least favorite in the trilogy. So that's not great. Hopefully I have a very different experience with it. But yeah, that is the next one I'm going to pick because I've just had a pretty bad run with books at the moment, not really having one that I've really enjoyed, besides, I guess, Woman Eating, which was 3.5 stars. But still, I'm searching for more, so I'm going to pick that one up next. Hello. Okay guys, so I've read another book. I think this will be the last book that I do in this vlog because it's already getting a bit long. So the last book that I read was A Curse for True Love. So I'm just patting Sylvie. A Curse for True Love. So this is the third installment in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. She's so cute. I love her so much. I love you. I love you. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. So I have given it a 3 stars. This book was all about the slow burn between Jax and Evangeline. It was all about the slow burn. So tell me how this delicious slow burn never catches light. It just fizzles out. It just fizzled out like that. So it was so disappointing to have all of this build up, all of this anticipation romantically, just to have it wink out. It was the most anticlimactic thing ever. But not only that, so this series, there were just so many questions. And unfortunately, the thing that annoyed me the most with this final installment was that none of the questions were answered. So I was left with the same amount of confusion that I had in the beginning of the book. And it's for everything, even small details like why Jax eats so many apples, to things like how did the fates become, and the world and the magic and the reasons for this. It just wasn't pulled together. It wasn't elucidated. I left it feeling perplexed and unsatisfied. There was so much of the story in a POV of a character that no one cares about. No one cares about. And it just felt really rushed and unpolished and kind of clumsy. So I was just left very annoyed that there was no payoff for everything that I had, all my time that I had invested in this story, believing that, okay, at the end, everything will make sense. And yet nothing made sense. I was left just in the dark as I was in the beginning. So yeah, that really frustrated me. So that was The Curse for True Love. And that is everything that I have read for this week. Until next time, stay well, Star Child.